everybody, I'm Sarah Atkinson. I'm a teaching and learning consultant for the Primary English and Literacy team within LPDS. I'm here today to talk to you about sentences, hopefully equipping you with a few ideas which may help your children in their understanding of sentences and sentence demarcation. Okay, let's get started. So our first game is called Deal or No Deal. And for this, you will need some strips of paper. And on each strip of paper, you will need to have recorded either a sentence or a non-sentence, i.e. one that doesn't grammatically make sense, it isn't correct, perhaps there's a word missing, perhaps there's something missing off the end, or perhaps it's a sentence type that you see coming up in the children's writing, an error that you see occurring over and over again that you want to particularly address. Okay. You'll also need to have two containers. One with the tick to collect your sentences and one to collect your non-sentences. Now, first and foremost, this game deals with hearing the sentence first. In fact, lots of times we want to really take our children's understanding back to what a sentence sounds like. Does it sound right? Does it stand alone as a complete unit of meaning? Sometimes we can be tempted to launch straight into capital letters and full stops, but actually that's fruitless if our children don't actually understand the concept of a sentence. So this really takes it back to that initial understanding of listening and thinking, does it sound right? So let's have first one, off we go. The highway rat was a baddie. The highway rat was a baddie. Now I might repeat it a few times. I might ask the children to say it back. I then might show them the sentence and we might say it together. The highway rat was a baddie. And we ask, are we going to say deal? Is it a sentence? Or no deal? Is it not a sentence? And hopefully they're all going to agree that that one is a sentence. So we're going to pop that one in this box right here. Okay, next one. Are we ready? Sue Potato is a hero. Sue Potato is a hero. Again, I might get them to say it back and then we might read it. Sue Potato is a hero. We agree? Yes, it makes sense. It sounds perfectly correct. So therefore that one is going to go in the box. You guessed it. And you'll notice those couple of examples there, they will link directly to children's texts. And that's a really good idea, isn't it? To try and make sure that as far as possible, you can link the grammar skills to context and to text which your children are familiar with, in order that it heightens their level of engagement and they bring some familiarity to the process. Okay, let's have a look at the next one. I enjoy reading and. I enjoy reading and. I enjoy reading and. I'll say it back. Hopefully they're going to spot that doesn't make sense. It needs to go into this bin here. But before we do that, we might say, well, what's wrong with it? There's something missing off the end. And we might have some discussion about what that could be. So we could model, couldn't we? I enjoy reading and drama. I enjoy reading and painting. I enjoy reading and going to the park. But at the moment, that sentence as it is, it's not grammatically correct. So that one is going to go in here. Okay. Last one. My favourite subject, English. My favourite subject, English. My favourite subject, English. Now then, a little bit more tricky this one, because actually all of those longer, more complex words are there. It's actually a shorter word that's missing, and it's missing from within the sentence, not at the end. Sometimes when our children are writing and they're writing at pace, they've got so many different ideas coming to the forefront of their minds, they often miss out words. And actually, when we ask them to proofread, it can be difficult to spot that those words are missing. So building examples like this into this game can really alert children to looking out for missing words. So hearing it read out loud, does it make sense? So actually, no, there's a word missing in there. What do we need to add in? Okay. You might also choose to use this game in Key Stage 2, because children then are introduced to more sophisticated sentence strategies and combinations, and it becomes a lot harder, doesn't it? So sometimes being taken back to what a sentence sounds like is really important. So I'm just going to share my screen with you now. We've got a couple of examples here. Again, under the same premise of deal or no deal. Okay, let's look at this first one. As he stormed into the room. As he stormed into the room. We're almost tempted, aren't we, to lean forward. We need something else. As he stormed into the room, da-da-da-da-da-da. So as it stands, that one there would have to go in the no deal box. Okay. What's happened here is that the child has started with a subordinate clause, but they've not added the main clause on to complete the sentence. So again, we could have some discussion around what could perhaps complete that sentence. As he stormed into the room, a hush descended. As he stormed into the room, the party started, etc. Okay. The Queen, who celebrates her 95th birthday this year. Oh, let's try that again. The Queen, who celebrates her 95th birthday this year. Oh, no, it still sounds like we need to finish that off, doesn't it? Okay, and this again is something that might classically come up in the children's writing. Perhaps they've been starting to embed some relative clauses using the relative pronoun who. So much energy has gone into perhaps devising this relative clause that actually they've forgotten to complete the main clause and indeed complete the sentence. So what could we add on to finish that off? The Queen, who celebrates her 95th birthday this year, is planning a party. The Queen, who celebrates her 95th birthday this year, is our longest reigning monarch. Okay, all stemming from deal or no deal. My next strategy is for children who perhaps struggle to use full stops correctly in their writing. Sometimes a child who struggles with full stops in their writing will actually struggle to read full stops in their reading. And by that, I mean that they don't stop at the full stop when reading aloud. They simply read through into the next sentence. As we know, reading always informs writing. So we need to take that child's understanding back to how punctuation is used in their reading and what those sentences sound like as complete units of meaning. Okay, so we're going to have a go together. I've got an extract here from Man on the Moon, which some of you may already be familiar with. And you can see that included in here is all the punctuation. Now you can play this in lots of different ways. It could well be that you have this text up on the screen and you share it as a class. You have one child who is brought out to the front and is responsible for the ball. So this could be the beach ball as I have here. It could be a tennis ball. It could be another ball from your PE cupboard. And the idea is that as I read and every time I reach a full stop, the child will throw the ball and I have to stop. So let's have a go. This is Bob. Perhaps you've heard people talk of him. You may know him better as the Man on the Moon. This is where Bob lives. Every morning he rises at 6 o'clock. You get the idea. Okay. So it could well be that a child is taking responsibility for that and I'm doing the reading. It could well be that perhaps we split the class half and half are chorally reading one sentence. The child then throws the ball at the full stop and the other half of the class read the next sentence. It could be that the beach ball is passed between children in the class. And when you retrieve the ball, you read the next sentence. When you reach the full stop, you stop and you pass the ball on to somebody else across the class. What this is doing is it is forcing you to stop at that full stop so you can really hear those units of meaning. Equally as applicable in Key Stage 2. The shop from nowhere arrived with the dawn on a crisp November morning. Word travelled quickly round the village, and by midday the place was abuzz with rumour and hearsay. There were 4 ships in the row yesterday. Today there are 5. Get the idea. Don't put an age limit on it, just adapt it in accordance with the pitch of your text. My final strategy today is for those children who believe that providing they put full stops in their writing, then surely they have written in sentences. In fact, some children equate a sentence as being the same as a line and will simply choose to put full stops at the end of every line. This strategy goes some way to challenging that. Let's have a go. I'm going to bring up my screen, and I've got on here a prepared section of text with some capital letters and full stops, and you will notice that all of my full stops are at the end of the line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say to the children, I'm going to read you a story. I might display the story at the same time. I encourage them to sit back, to settle into their chairs or into their carpet place. I get my microphone ready and away I go. The next morning, I leapt out of bed and ran to my window. I couldn't wait to see if the beanstalk was still there. Sure enough, there it was, reaching up high towards the fluffy clouds above. I just hoped. Hadn't yet had chance to look. I raced too. Get ready, bursting with excitement. And then I asked the children, what did they think of my story? And hopefully they're going to respond that actually it sounded a bit strange. It didn't sound quite right. And when we unpick that a little bit further, they might start to say, well, you were pausing this, but you were pausing in some very strange places. And I could reflect back on what's on the board and say, well, hang on a moment. I've got my capital letters and I've got my full stops. But surely I've written in sentences, haven't I? Actually making the point with the children that where the full stops go helps us to clarify the meaning. So the challenge for the children then to work in pairs is that actually if we then remove those full stops, where could they go? You could then provide the children with that extract of text, perhaps with some plasticine full stops, and they could rehearse where they think those full stops go, simply by going back and reading each section aloud, taking it back to hearing it, and actually those sentences being all about clear units of meaning. Okay, thanks ever so much for joining me today to talk about sentences. Do look out for our sentence courses that are running at the end of March, building sentences in Key Stage 1 and building stronger sentences in Key Stage 2. Hope to see you again soon, and in the meantime, take care and stay safe. Bye for now.